Okay, so welcome you all to TOEFL listening section now. We'll start with the listening section now, and more or less the question would be similar to that of in the that we found in the reading section, but there would be a few more things here in the listening section that we have to keep in mind. So let's start with the listening section today. And once again, this section would also be of 30 marks, and there would be no sectional cutoff required. Okay, no section cutoff is there for this one, but it is, I would say, most easiest one, and people usually score 30 out of 30 in, I would say, in 3 out of 10 cases. So mostly who are preparing well, I mean, on an average base, they score somewhere around 30, and average score, if I say, people score usually very high marks in this section, somewhere around 27, 28. Okay, so you can take it, I mean, don't to be. Okay, so let's see. Listening section, it would be of 41 to 57 minutes, right? So it will measure your ability to understand conversations and lectures in English. So basically it is just about listening to something and thereafter process that information, right? In the reading section, we were reading the things, and thereafter we were trying to understand the conversations and the theme of the topic. And here we would have to listen to this audio clips in whole section, and thereafter we'll have to take the notes of that audio clip, and thereafter we'll have to answer a few questions given at the end of the audio clip. Okay, so most of the times there it would be dealing with the practical problems, means and most of the times the topics are only academic based. Whatever conversations you have in the academic environment, that kind of audio clips you would be having, right? So there would be nothing different, not very far discussions. I mean, it would not be that some people are discussing something in the store or some sale. No, it would be academic kind of things, right? So what kind of audio clips could we have? Lectures or conversations? Either one person would be speaking or two persons would be discussing something with each other. Okay, both will use campus-based language. So guys, you can take notes of any audio item throughout the test to help your answer questions. So now the important things about the listening section, you will find obviously listening or audio clips in the complete listening section. Okay, first one is in the listening section, but this section will also help you in the speaking part. Why? Because you will also have their audio clips in the speaking section. Okay, so audio clips. Once again, in the writing section, audio clips. Okay, what I mean to say is you will find audio clips in the listening section, in the speaking section, in the writing section. So that's why listening section is very, very important actually. Okay, you will listen to some conversations, you will listen to some lectures, and you will have to take the notes. And whenever there is any audio clip in the TOEFL exam, this is I mean in any one of the section, then you have to take the notes as you take in your university classes while you listen to any lecture. And the lecture, this note should be best precise. Okay, shortest. Okay, shortest possible. Why? Because obviously if a professor is delivering his lecture, then you cannot take the notes from for each and every line, and you will have to basically take the notes in the form of keywords, as we discussed in the this reading section. Okay, so try to take the notes in the form of keywords, shortest possible keywords. Okay, so listening section, yes, obviously I think there are same things. 3 to 4 lectures would be there, most probably of 3 to 5 minutes and 6 questions per lecture. 2 to 3 conversations, 3 minutes, 5 questions per conversation, and you can take the notes, right? Listening tips and tricks, let's start. I think I have once again repeated this slide. 3 to 5 minutes of conversation, 4 to 6 discussion lecture. So what would happen in the discussion lecture? It could happen that professor is talking to students, okay, or they are discussing about something on in that particular audio clip. Okay, so it could happen that a professor is taking viva. It could happen that a professor, a student is asking his doubts to the professor. So this kind of discussion will be there. Okay, from conversation 5 questions, lecture 6 questions, once again discussion lecture 6 questions. Now, what strategies do we need to follow for the listening type questions? Okay, listen to the conversation very actively and keep following words in mind. Who, what, why, when, where, how. So questions will generally start from this. Okay, who was the main speaker, or who was the what was the topic of discussion, why professor said this, why the cafeteria manager said this, when the new classes were announced in the college. So this kind of questions you could get on the basis of the audio clip. Okay, so what you have to do, so guys, listen to different materials. Now what does it mean? Listen to the different materials means try to listen audio lectures from economics, from engineering, from science, from history, because that will that will give you a sort of idea about the different vocabulary words from different sections, okay, different domains. Even if you are doing this, just suppose see, if you are an engineering guy, right, so you would be just suppose if you are an communication engineer, so you would be very much familiar with the words, I mean, that you use in your engineering vocabulary, I mean communication vocabulary. But if you are given a sort of material science engineering domain, if you have to listen to a lecture from that, then you may miss lots of words in between. So that's why it is recommended to you that try to listen to the different lectures of different domains. That will give you a broad idea of the types of lectures that you have in the different sections, in the different domains, right? So try to take the good notes, means precise notes, okay, precise notes, just like conversation, just shorten it to CN conversation like this, and actively ACT and following like this. Or you could also use your signs for following, you can use such kind of signs, right? So that depends on you actually, how you shorten your notes. And all of you have done this in your bachelor's and master's, so it would not be a big task for you, but just you have to listen and try to take down the notes. No information should be left. So there is one tip for you which would help you, that try to listen to the lecture or the conversation in the form of story. If you are listening to an audio lecture in the form of story, then it becomes very easy for you to understand that what professor explained first, what did he introduce, thereafter what did he said, first one, second one, what information did he provide at the very first, then second half. And whenever you will come to any conversation, just suppose a man and women is discussing something, or a male student or a female student is discussing something. In that case, so guys, what would happen? What kind of discussion you expect to have between two people? So it could happen that a man is asking a few questions and women is replying for that. Okay, so she would be replying something. You could take it as a male student and female student. Okay, because most of the times, and you would not get any male student talking to male student. Okay, so it hardly matters that, because see, if two persons or two students of same gender are talking to each other, then it would be difficult for you to understand that who is speaking, because a voice note is similar to the male guys and female guys. So most of the times a male student would be discussing the things with the female student, so it would be easy for you to recognize the this voice tone actually, right, and pitch of the voice. So just suppose most of the times it would be about one male student is asking questions and female student is replying to that. And what else could we have? They are discussing about, just suppose, pros and cons of something. They have a certain topic of discussion. They are discussing about something. So male student is talking his points about that particular topic, and a female student is having certain her views about that particular topic. So this kind of conversation you could get there. And if you are noting down such kind of conversation, then you could take your notes in the form of column, right? One side male student, second side female student. You could write in the form of questions that male student asked this thing, female student replied this thing, thereafter he questioned this thing, and she replied like this. Okay, so it would become easy for you to take the notes in the form of this thing. And you obviously do not have to take all the information, right? Just suppose male student is asking the question that the management has decided this thing from very next week, and why you are not happy with this thing. So it doesn't mean that you have to note down all the line, right? You could use your shortest forms. Okay, so that's how you have to take the notes. And okay, so even if you are an expert listener, take the notes. Why? Because guys, after sometimes we actually become very much familiar, or we become very much comfortable with taking notes, and we assume that we are taking all the notes, so we do not need to take the notes. Why? Because see, there would be a conversation of, just suppose, 3 to 5 minutes, right? So they would discuss a lots of things in the 3 to 5 minutes, a lots of things, right? So it could happen that you miss some of the information. So that's why if you have processed your information very well, and if you are listening to the audio lectures very well, thereafter take the notes, even if you have understood everything. Okay, while answering to the questions, it could happen that you have lost a few a few points from the conversation. Okay, so try to do one thing, try to take the notes from entire conversation. Okay, do not leave anything, even if you are understanding it very well. Okay, so what is a note here? If the information asked in the question is not in your notes, then improve listening and notes making. So how you have to check that? I'll tell you later on that you will have to listen to the audio lectures, or you could listen to any movie clip, English movie clip, okay, from YouTube. Just do one thing for your practice, start any audio clip or any English conversation happening between two American people and try to take the notes. Just try to listen to it for approximately 5 to 7 minutes, right? After listening to it for 7 minutes, replay it, try to replay it slowly and check out your notes that all the information discussed in this audio clip or movie clip is, the information in your notes is completely there or not. Okay, so that you have to check. If it is not there, then it means you have to work more. Okay, you have to practice more. So that's how you can check your audio, listening skills, right? Coming to next part now. You can take permanent notes of new expressions or idioms you just heard. For example, what does it mean? Go and break the leg, kill it, fingers crossed, right? So those are the idioms which we, speak to someone when they are going to perform anything, right? If someone is going for his exam, if someone is going for any singing performance, any sports, any game, any match. So we actually wish them by saying go and break the leg. It means go and perform well, right? So if you're getting some such kind of new idioms, then you can note it down in your notes, because they would help you in the speaking section, right, while you'll speak to the answer of the questions. And along with this would also help you in this writing section. Okay, so more or less all the things which you are doing, which you are reading, obviously in the reading section, I mean, all those sections are helping you in some way in the other sections also, right? So try to make a very good preparation, very holistic preparation that helps you. So try to observe the things in the reading section, which could help you in the speaking section and also in the writing section, how they are writing the sentences, how they are using the words, when they are using although, when they are using instead of, right? So such kind of idioms, and when they are using go and kill it. So when they are using such kind of idioms and all those words, right? So try to understand in this way. Now, congratulations. So when you have done something good, then you call them, you say them, well done, fabulous work, or hats off, and also kudos. So this is the British way to say something when you have done something very exceptional, okay? And 3 cheers. So this is once again a kind of greet that you wish someone when they have done some fabulous work in any particular, in any match or any any performance, right? So do not interpret the information on the basis of your knowledge about the topic. Yes, so this is a very common thing. I think I have explained this point to you in the reading section also, that obviously if you are, if you got something on global warming in the reading section, then it would always happen that you also have certain knowledge about global warming. And what do? We try to answer the questions on the basis of our knowledge. So we do not have to do that basically. We just have to listen to the information that is given to us according to the lecture. And guys, believe me, it could happen that there are some weird reasons which you are not agree with in the audio lecture or in the reading part, that the reason for the global warming. You could find very weird points, but your answer would be only from the audio lecture and the reading comprehension. So do not try to make your own points, just try to listen to the audio lectures, and you will have to answer on the basis of that only, right? So keep different structures of topic in mind, as right. So what does it mean? What kind of topic you could have? What kind of topics? Just remember one thing, what kind of lectures you were having in your university classes, in your bachelor's or master's classes. So most of the times it would be in the form of that professor introduced you about some topic, and thereafter he explained a very few things, any explanation, any working principle of something, any advantages or disadvantages of something. So that would be contained in the body, and thereafter conclusion part. So most of the times you will get such kind of conversations or structure of the topic, right? It could be a steps of anything, right? It could be a step of any process. It could be a cause or defect of something. It could be a comparison between something. Okay, so why I'm telling you this, because it would be in your mind that while you start listening to any conversation, any lecture, then if you know, just suppose your professor said in the very first line in the audio clip that global warming is a major issue nowadays we are facing for humankind, right? So just suppose you heard this line, and this is an introductory line, okay? So it could be in the form of, just suppose it was global warming, right? And it should immediately strike into your mind that professors would be, he could explain about the reasons, or if actually, reasons would be cause and it would be effect, global warming, right? So what reasons he's giving, steps, like he could explain certain steps. So you have to understand in this way that what kind of conversation or this lecture he is going to deliver. So you could take your notes accordingly. So this could help you. This could help you, or this would definitely help you to remember the audio lecture in the form of story, right? So that's what our purpose is. Now, important points to keep in mind when answering. Remember that you cannot return to the question later on. Yes, obviously, if you are going to the listening section, you could not replay the audio clip. It would be played just only once, and you have to take the notes, right? Once you answer a question, you will not be allowed to return to it. Read every question and read every single word of each answer choice carefully, right? Don't forget that here we do not have paragraph to refer as was in the reading section, right? Guys, you were having reading section in that entire passage in front of you on the screen, but here you would not have any audio clip, replay option. So you would just have to take the notes while you are listening to the audio lecture, okay? Coming to next part now. So guys, questions here are similar to that of in the reading section, okay? There would be main idea kind of question, okay? Detail kind of question, as we did in the reading section. Choose 2 or 3 details, inference kind of question, attitude kind of question, and listen again kind of question. So let me briefly explain to you those, or let's discuss those questions. In the main idea means there would be certain topic of discussion. So what is the main idea of the professor's lecture? This kind of question we will see in detail in the upcoming slides. Detail, factual information, okay, as we did in the reading section. Choose 3 or details, once again, facts, right? Inference means you have to interpret something. Also in the attitude kind of question, you have to interpret something. What was the attitude of professor behind saying those lines? And listen again question. So in these questions, you would get, just suppose your entire audio clip was of 5 minutes. So in listen again kind of question, you would get once again a sound clip of just suppose of 10 seconds. And you would be asked questions on the basis of that 10 seconds audio clip, okay? You would be asked one questions from this audio clip. So you basically, the question would be of kind, what was author, or what professor was trying to deliver by saying those lines? I mean, questions type, more or less it would be similar for all those 3, okay? So let's see in now more details that what strategies do we need to follow and how to identify the questions and how to answer those questions. Main idea kind of question, okay? So it is the usually very first question you will be you'll find after the listening, and it has the word mainly, okay? What does the lecture mainly discuss? Obviously, if you have heard something, then first question is quite natural that you would be asked that what was the topic of discussion, okay? What is the main topic of the lecture, right? So now there are general listenings, okay? 3 general kind of listenings you will get that will determine how you answer this question. Now, please pay attention that what kind of listenings you could have, okay? Direct from the beginning, change from the beginning, confusing kind of listenings. So what are they? You do not need to learn all those things. I'm just telling you that what kind of questions you could get, right? So if you have those things in your mind, then it becomes easier for you to answer the questions. Let's see, what do we have in the direct from beginning? What does it mean? So try to understand the color coding. I have written here introduction, body, body part. Once again, the body part. Just suppose body part 1, body part 2, body part 3. Okay. So this would be the structure of listening. Okay. Just suppose the professor would explain you, professor would introduce you about some topic, and he is going to explain some other factors about that particular topic in the rest of the body part of his speech or his lecture. Okay. What else could we have? It could happen that professor introduced you about some topic. Thereafter, he totally shifted his meaning to some other things. Just suppose, let me give an example. Just suppose he's introduced that how new airport is going to consume a lots of land in this small city. Just suppose he explained you this thing. He talked about new airport to be built in your hometown, or just suppose in a very small town or small city. Thereafter, he totally explained about the other transportation media, train, buses, and other metros kind of things. Okay, so just suppose he explained about all those things. But in introduction, he explained about airways. Okay, so it means that he introduced you about something, but he totally shifted his meaning to topic to some other other way. Actually, other way means some other kind of transportation medias, right? Now, what else could have? He introduced you about something. Thereafter, he explained something in the very first paragraph, or in the rest of the body paragraph, something else. So it would be in very rare in TOEFL. Most of the times, you could get the very first kind of the listenings. Most of the times you would get the introduction of something, and thereafter he would explain you about that particular topic in the rest of the body part. Or in 5 to 10% cases, it could also happen. He introduced you about something, and thereafter he started explaining about something else, right? But this would rarely happen, that he is confusing the topic and he's explaining lots of things in his lecture. Okay, so don't worry about that. Just listen to the conversation in the very first line very carefully, because most of the times the answer for your very first question, what does this listening or this audio clip or this lecture mainly discuss? Okay, so your introductory paragraph would give you answer for that particular question. Okay, now coming to next part, detail kind of question. It will ask you for the facts, as we did in the list this reading section. Answering these correctly relies on your notes. If you have understood this fact that only your notes are the keys for all the questions in this particular section, then you are done with this section. Try to take notes very carefully, means try to take the notes. I mean, try to at least note down each and every information discussed in the lecture. Okay, so later on, whatever kind of questions you have, you would be, in a situation to answer all those questions, right? They ask you to identify facts in the reading and often begin with WH questions, obviously what, when, why, where. So this kind of question. The best strategy is to identify the topic of the question, obviously. Find where it appears in your notes. Choose an answer that contains keywords in your notes. Obviously, when you listen to the question or when you read the question, you would have to find out the answer for that particular question in your notes. Okay, so most of the times, if you have understood the story and if you have notes, then while you'll read the answer, if you have both of those things, then both of them will give you your answer. How? If you have heard story very carefully, then believe me, answer would already be in your mind, right? But even if you have some glimpses of answer in your mind and you are not able to recall it properly, then you could go to your notes. So if you have taken that information there, then your answer is done, right? But if none of them is good, then it is troublesome, right? In that case, it would be trouble. But along with that, there is one hope for you, that it is not a very tough section. Actually, you can keep on practicing for this, and obviously you will get this habit of taking notes, right? So don't worry about that. Try to just start it once and try to take the notes. replay the audio clip, replay the clip, check out your notes that all the information is there or not, right? Okay, now inference kind of question. Once again, what does professor implied or what does professor suggest by saying those lines? Okay, sometimes listen again means sometimes you would be provided audio clip once again of approximately 10 to 15 seconds, most probably 7 to 10 seconds also. It depends actually how much they have provided you. So your question would be based on the basis of that audio clip, right? Just as it was in the reading. So guys, there is one more thing. While listening to the audio lecture, try to listen to the tone of the speaker, even if he's a professor, even if he's a student. So you have to listen to the tone, attitude of saying behind some lines, right? Sometimes you must have heard that sometimes we say something to somebody sarcastically and they take it in a wrong way. And obviously sometimes we also saying in that in wrong way. Wrong way in some sort of, jealous way, or keeping anger in our mind by saying some lines. So that you have to understand that what was the tone of speaker behind saying those lines. Okay. Now attitude, once again, same attitude and opinion questions. These ask you to look at the way that information is presented to make a judgment on the person delivering the speech. Got it or not? For example, if you hear, "This always confused me," let's understand that how do we understand that what is the meaning of those words, right? He's likely expressing a degree of criticism, and we should write the word confused. "This always confused me that how could we have such a cold weather in the month of June in this hill town," right? So you could understand that this is a sound of expressing a degree of criticism. Actually, we use those words while we are it doesn't mean that it is something is confusing me, but we are showing some sort of criticism. "This always confused me that he doesn't read throughout the year, then how can he get such a good marks in the final exams," right? So this sort of tone, attitude behind particular words that you have to understand, and your answer, your question would be asked on the basis of this thing only. Attitude and opinion kind of question. What was the opinion of professor behind saying these lines? Okay, so we should write to word confused with a small negative sign to help us remember if we need to answer such question on the topic. Confused means negative sign, means they have given you a shortcut tip that you could use a negative sign if someone is saying something negatively, or if some is saying, just suppose I gave you an example that the coach said to his team that go and kill it, means you could write it as a positive sign, that he asked them, he wished them to perform well in the game, right? So that sort of notes you can take. Purpose, sometimes listen again. What does professor mention? Why does professor mention this thing? Why does the professor say, or this kind of question you would get, right? Purpose kind of question. What was the purpose of professor behind saying any particular lines, right? Now, important tips at last. Those are the important tips which will make your listening habits very good. Listen very actively. Means, what does it mean? Try to take the interest. Just develop your sixth sense to listen to that lecture, whatever professor is delivering. If you are listening to that very actively, then believe me, you would understand more things about that topic, right? Just do not listen it like that you are attempting any question. Just listen to it very carefully. Take interest in that particular topic. That will help you to retain a lots of things about that topic in your mind. Okay. Improve notes making. Keywords are important. Yes, I told you that thing, that try to take the short keywords. Do not write a lots of stuff which is not necessary, right? What, when, why, those are not necessary basically, but you just have to write that why professor said this, why he said go and break the leg. So those kinds of important keywords you have to take. Make 2 columns in case of conversations that we discussed already. Write in the form of question and answer that we have already discussed. You can write in this form because that will also help you to understand more clearly the passage. Focus on story, not vocabulary. So this is something what you have to keep in mind while answering the listening clips, right? Why? See, story is important here. Nobody is going to ask you any vocabulary kind of question. And just suppose you were listening to audio clip, you were listening to the lecture, and you somehow missed a certain portion, somehow you were not able to listen to the last word, what professor just said. So in that case, please do not stuck there, do not get stuck there. Leave that part and just move ahead to the next line. Because if you start thinking about that line, then professor will not stop for you, right? That audio clip will not stop for you. So he will keep on saying. So that's why if you have just missed the last word, then leave that word there only and just move ahead to the next line, whatever he's speaking. Try to take the notes from the very next line. Just leave that part there, okay? Always memorize type of question and then follow the strategy. Yes, do not panic. In that case, if you have lost something, lost some part of, just suppose 3 to 4 seconds of lecture you have lost, then do not panic there. Just move ahead to the next line, start listening from the very next line and try to take the notes from there. If you couldn't hear last line, leave and move to next. Listen material of different fields: history, geography, science, literature, politics, and engineering, obviously different domains. Use internet for various types of listening: lectures, conversations, debate. Yes, once again, very important thing, and discussions. Okay, so that you can listen to. Fun practice. So you can call a mobile center or TV dish customer care and ask about all the plans and note down the information they explained you, and that would be a practice for you, obviously. Yes, so this was all from the listening section, and those were the tips and tricks. Okay, thank you.